Assalamu alaikum. I am Mariam and behind me is Mia. This is my first time doing this video where I want to talk about my illnesses. I have a few illnesses, but I just wanted to talk about my day-to-day life. Today I'm having an okay day. My fibromyalgia is 10 plus, but alhamdulillah, the morning stiffness so far is staying away. I've had a bit of a fibro fog or brain fog. It could be the brain fog from the narcolepsy rather than the fibromyalgia. With the narcolepsy, I just wanted to say that if at any point I fall asleep during this video, please forgive me. Because with the narcolepsy, whether I'm happy and enjoying making these videos for you, or whether I become sad, I can automatically fall asleep. So if I fall asleep and continue talking to you, please forgive me. The narcolepsy today, alhamdulillah, I'm having a good day. So far I haven't just, apart from taking a quick nap intentionally, I haven't had any unplanned naps, which may start to happen over the coming weeks because of this being in isolation because of the coronavirus. Also, I have cervical dystonia. I can, you see my head tilting at the moment. That's part of my cervical dystonia. Sometimes my head's stuck on my shoulder. But also with that, I might do a bit of shaking and jumping. If that happens, please forgive me. It doesn't necessarily mean that I've started breakdancing on you. It might do, but most of the time it's just cervical dystonia. I also have my fibromyalgia. I have osteoarthritis, which sometimes causes pain and swelling in my joints. I have loose IBS, which is not very nice to talk about, but if needs must, we may talk about it at some point. I also have stress incontinence. I call that my Niagara Falls. Another thing that's not very nice to talk about, but we may do it some other point. I also, if you're wondering about my glasses, I have light sensitivity, which may or may not be part and parcel of the fibromyalgia. My light sensitivity, without my glasses, I get nasty migraines. Alhamdulillah, today no migraines, which is why I thought, oh, I'll give this a go. I also have seasonal asthma, which comes this time of year. I have hay fever, which also comes this time of year. I also have eczema that in the winter sometimes I end up with a lot of dermatitis. So as that's going, other things are coming. But also I also have depression. Now with the depression, you know, sometimes I get the blues without reason because of the fibromyalgia. But with the fibromyalgia, once the blues set in, if the depression sets in, well, I end up going full circle, which means that the illnesses follow one by one and I get flare-ups of everything, which isn't good. some of the things that I do for my illnesses is this oil. I have this oil which I got from my niece's shop. I can't read it to you because it's not in English. But I know some things don't work for everybody, but if you need pain relief, I recommend this oil. This one has chilies in it. It doesn't always come with chilies. But I have actually used this oil on my spine for my cervical dystonia. And it's worked wonders. I've used this oil on my whole body for the fibromyalgia, and it's eased the pain. So this is a great oil for anybody that wants to try it. Another thing that I might do is this oil here. Now, this is actually ostrich fat. Now, you might think, what does she want to do with ostrich fat? Well, that's what I thought when somebody recommended it to me when they was in my niece's store. Ostrich oil is very, very good for arthritis. And so because it was recommended, I decided, okay, I'll give it a try. Alhamdulillah, I'm glad that I gave the ostrich oil a try because, say I've had a hot shower, I'm getting ready for bed, I'll rub the ostrich oil on my joints. And Alhamdulillah, the blessing has been the swelling of my joints, especially over the winter, has not been as bad as it usually is. So Alhamdulillah for that. My pain today is 10 plus, but Alhamdulillah the morning stiffness stayed away, so I was able to come into the lounge rather than stay in the bedroom. On a really, really bad day, if I have to go somewhere and really, really need to do something, and I'm struggling with morning stiffness and chronic pain and even fatigue, because there's one sleeping illness where part and parcel of fibromyalgia, where I toss and turn and can't sleep at night, and lay there wishing the narcolepsy would kick in. If that happens, and say I have a hospital appointment the next day and I can't, there's no way I can do anything. What I do, because I'm not allowed painkillers as such, because of my narcolepsy, because most pain medication will send you to sleep, and I sleep more than enough as it is. The one thing that I do is CBD oil. I've found that if I take a few capsules, or if I have it in a piece of chocolate, or a piece of cake or something with CBD oil inside, I've found that on a really, really bad, desperate day, actually makes me flexible and helps me to move. Another thing that is very, very helpful is black seed. Now, I use small black seeds. Some people use it in the cooking that they bring me. Sometimes I might put it or get somebody to put it in my tea or my coffees. The oil itself, sometimes I use it on my skin for my eczema or dermatitis. But the oil itself also if I have problems with the cervical dystonia and the fibromyalgia at the same time, I tend to, if I put a bit at the top of my spine and some at the bottom of my spine, at least my spine kicks in and starts moving a bit, which is a blessing, alhamdulillah. Another thing with black seed is the soap. Now, the soap is very good for my eczema and dermatitis, but it's also very good, so I'm told, by family and friends, that whenever I use it, I look a lot younger. So if you want to look youthful, then I suggest you go and buy some black seed soap. Just a thought. So my idea of these videos is to tell you how I'm feeling today, and about my illnesses, you know, at what levels my illnesses are at. My fibromyalgia is 10 plus today, with the pain, maybe a 9 with the fog, with other things that come with it. There may be a 2 or a 3, not so bad. The cervical dystonia, well, I didn't think it was that bad, but in looking at myself now, I'm thinking maybe it's a 5. But then it won't be long before the time comes where I need to have injections in my neck again. So I actually have Botox in my neck to help me straighten my head strings up. The pain from the cervical dystonia eases, and also my shaking and jumping is lessened by having these injections. So maybe my cervical dystonia is a 5 today. So, you know, maybe just before I'm due the injections, usually it's a 10 plus. Also, my osteoarthritis, well, that's a 5 today. One of the reasons probably is because the season's changing. You know, it's usually worse in the winter. In the winter, it's usually a 10 plus, where I usually get a lot of pain and a lot of swelling. So the swelling's not so bad today. I also have loose IBS. Today I would say it's a 5. Yesterday that was 10 plus. Not a good subject to talk about, but if you have loose IBS and you need help and support, then it's good to share with others. Also, I have stress incontinence, which I call my Niagara Falls. So if anybody has stress incontinence, you know, maybe we could help each other. What happens for me sometimes is my emotions kick in. Sometimes it's because of the fibromyalgia. I might get the blues from nowhere. And other times it might be because there's a lot going on around me. When that happens, the narcolepsy kicks in, and then I'm with somebody 1 minute and the next minute I'm waffling on fast asleep. But when it's an emotional thing, it sets off this circle where you have the fibro, then you have the osteoarthritis, then you have the narcolepsy. Then from there, you might have the IBS, the stress incontinence I have 24/7. That's always a 10 plus. But when you get those things triggered off in a circle, it sets off the depression. Now, with the depression, it's always best if you can to talk to somebody if you need to. Um, for me, it happens, for many reasons. Some of it is because, because something's happened. At the moment we've got this coronavirus, we're isolated. Well, anybody with chronic or critical illnesses can tell you, well, we had the practice run. So, those of you who are beginners at self-isolating, you know, I wish you all the best, and hopefully you find a good way of coping. For us that have had the practice run, well, on a good day now, we can't even go out. So all this stuff about go outside for an hour and do a bit of exercise, well, let me tell you, send me outside. I'll go and do a bit of exercise. You'll find me on the pavement fast asleep. I don't know what my neighbours would think, but if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. But that's the story of my life, On a normal, day-to-day basis, I don't go far by myself. Since moving back to the community that I know and love, alhamdulillah, I do force myself on a good day just to step outside. On one side where I live is my niece's shop. On the other side is Masjid Al Furqan's. So, that's, for me, that's a blessing, that I can go that far. It's not always easy. It could take me 5 minutes, it could take me an hour just to go across the road outside, something that used to take me a minute or two. Another thing that happens, which I'm actually waiting to hear from the hospital about, is because sometimes I might say, oh, my lights have gone out. That's because all of a sudden I can't see anything. I did go to the eye hospital, and it wasn't really to do with my eyes. They said because I have cramping and pins and needles, they think that I have something else. Only Allah knows if I have another illness on top of all the illnesses that I have already. We'll just wait and see on that one. So the idea of me talking to you is to share how I am today with my illnesses, and you might pick up something and think, oh, that's a good idea, or that doesn't work for me, but you might have something that works good for you that you might want to suggest. So I'm just going to I'm going to try, because this is all new to me, being in isolation full time, I'm trying to find something else to occupy my mind. The idea is that I'm going to try to do some small videos and let you know how I'm doing with my illnesses, and let everybody know that alhamdulillah, by the grace of God, I'm still here and I'm still surviving everything that's going on around me, as I hope you all are too. If there's anything you don't understand, and you have an illness that I have, I've always found the best way to understand somebody's situation is if you've had it or been through it yourself. So inshallah, we will do that. Um, for me personally, throughout my life, just letting you know about myself. Um, I used to be a painter and decorator. I used to put furniture together. I used to put up curtain rails and do odd jobs for many people. I did work for a housing association, which I gave up and started working for myself before I became unwell. I already had osteoarthritis and asthma. And then I got the loose IBS. And then as soon as I got the fibromyalgia, well, that done me in. You know, it broke my heart. I had to give up my job. I could no longer do the things that I enjoyed doing. So I had to find other things to do. Alhamdulillah, I still try my best. I'm not perfect by any means, but I do try my best to help others where possible. Sometimes it's on the laptop, you know, from my bedside, but I still do what little I can. But Alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful. I'm back in the community that I know and love. I have a roof over my head. I have family and friends around me who love and support me very much. So no matter what happens in this life, I know that Allah is always with me. And Allah has given me these people in my life as a blessing. And they are a blessing. They are a wonderful blessing. So Jazakallah for listening, and hope to see you all again soon.